Hi, everyone. I am Allison Maslan. I am the founder of Pinnacle Global Network, and I love all things scaling in business and in life. And to scale a business, you've got to have sales. And so I wanted to bring on one of the top experts in the world on sales. So let me introduce him. As founder of Gain the Edge, Jim Padilla is known in the personal development and business coaching world as the go-to guy for all things sales. He is a master collaborator whose purpose is to help entrepreneurs leverage the power of collaboration to scale their business so they can impact the world the way they intended. Jim is known for instilling into his sales team, it's not what you say, it's who you are while you say it. And that I love that because it really isn't about the exact technique. It's how you are showing up. So anyway, Jim, thank you for being here with me today.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Allison. Privileged to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have attended many events together over the years, and you're always like the go-to guy on sales. And so I'm really excited to have you here because without sales, you have no business. It is the lifeblood of your business. And you have a unique and different approach to sales than most people do. Can you tell me
Yes.
how you created the process that you use now and teach others?
Yeah. Well, it is definitely different, a little controversial at times. And it really started with me having a really challenging upbringing. And when I was a kid, I grew up in a really abusive environment. And I was in foster care at 13 and on the streets at 16 and in jail by 19. And so I spent the first 20 years of my life having to master every minute worrying about my environment and how I'm going to influence people to not see me as a threat so that they wouldn't want to hurt me. And,
Wow.
little did I know that, you fast forward, 25 years and I'd be making millions of dollars teaching other people how to master their environment so that they could not be seen as a threat. So people would want to buy from them. And
Yeah.
so
Wow.
I literally, that's just how this has been. And that's how it's
Yeah.
navigated through my life.
Yeah. That's incredible. I did not know that, Jim, about you. I mean, what resilience that must have taken to overcome everything that you have been through.
Yeah, it's a lot, and the beautiful thing is it's been nothing but a gift. At the time, I didn't know that, of course, but I've overcome so much. And so I understand when we're talking to people, we know what's at stake for them, and where they might think they're in dire straits, we know that they can overcome. We know that they can get there. And it's not because you're preparing a predetermined message for the person you're talking to. It's because you're able to show up as the person that they need, show up as the person that they will follow willingly to make a decision in their own best interest.
Yeah, I love that. What do you think are the top strategic mistakes that really hold people back from making more sales?
Well, some of the key mistakes that people make are expecting the conversation to go specifically to a location, right? It doesn't work like that with anybody. Where do you meet somebody in life? And the conversation whether it's a 10-minute conversation at a park or at a coffee shop or an hour-long conversation with a friend, it almost never goes where you planned it. So
Mm-hmm.
why would you think that's what's going to happen when you get into a sales conversation, right? You need to allow it to go where it needs to go and then be able to show up as the expert of their problem and know how to lead them towards a solution.
That's so true. I was
Right.
sitting, as you were saying that, I was like, yeah, that's actually true. And that's the beautiful part about it, that we don't know,
Right.
right? Otherwise, if we knew always how it was going to be, life would be kind of boring.
For sure. For sure. And then, there's some really simple things. We have a concept that we teach called make more sales without getting better at selling. And it doesn't mean that we don't teach tactics and strategy. It's just, most people are never going to be a quote unquote sales expert. Call me an expert, call me a guru, a trainer, whatever. And even I don't spend all of my time mastering sales. And if that's not your main game, that means you're not spending anywhere near enough time to master it to become a guru. So we decided, let's just structure your environment in a way that people will show up already predisposed to wanting to buy. And that's not about necessarily marketing and fine tune and targeting. It's about how do you align yourself with all the right partners so that the people they would send to you always make good sense as an ideal person to work with. It means that when you schedule an appointment for somebody, that you lay out all of the bricks in the path that lead them predictably to you, expecting to want to buy something. One of the biggest mistakes people make is we expect them to show up to want to buy, but we don't do all the work to prepare them to be there as a prospective buyer, right? Simple stuff, but most people just miss it, and then probably the biggest one, there's two. One is follow-up. 7% of your sales come on the first time you talk to somebody. That means 93% of your sales mean you have to at least talk to somebody twice, usually 5 times, and oftentimes more than 10. And most people have 0 intentional, purposeful follow-up processes. And you have to be able to follow up and be relevant and valuable in people's world over time so that when they're ready to buy it, they want to come and talk to you. And then the biggest challenge that we see for people is that most people just do not tell the truth in a sales conversation. And that means on the little stuff, like how many times you get off a call and you go, oh, I really should have told them this. But you didn't because you thought if you told them, you might be pushy. Or if you told them, they might not like you. That means you're not telling them the truth, and it's costing you every single day.
Yeah. Wow. Gosh, I want to break this down because you just said a lot. So behind all of that, and I am going to go back and talk to you about a few of these things, but it's the mental blocks. It's such a mindset thing. What are the biggest mental blocks, do you think, that really sabotage our behavior, like what you were just sharing?
Well, it's interesting because we all talk about the know, like, and trust factor. We've been hearing it forever. I don't know who the first person is who said it, but one person said it, and we've all been repeating it for decades, if not centuries.
True.
I don't buy that, because when you're trying to be liked, you're at direct conflict with telling the truth. Usually the truth is not something that's going to make somebody like you, but it will serve them best. And at the end of the day, they'll love you for it. But if you're worried about being liked, you won't actually say or do the things that you know you should as a leader. So we take the emphasis off of trying to be liked and put it back on them, because this isn't, the sales conversation is not about you. It's about them. Mm-hmm. And so we have to really show up in service to them, selfless, and say, look, what I want to make sure at the end of the day that I did everything I could to lead them to a conclusion, not everything I could to look good and feel good.
Yeah. Wow. That's really powerful. That's true. How often we say the know, like, and trust, right? And it's interesting too, because I think especially today, when you're bold enough to just speak your truth, then you get the right people to follow you. And it might not be the most popular thing that you're saying. So I have to really agree with that. Let's talk about the follow-up, because I do feel like this is the biggest thing where those sales just completely fall through the cracks. I mean, tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands, millions of potential dollars gone because of not having that consistent follow-up. Why do you think that this part, you would think it's the other part, like making the call, but it's really the follow-up? Why?
I think it's that people haven't put enough thought and effort and energy into figuring out how to be relevant when you're following up. Most of the time we follow up and say, hey, are you ready to buy? Oh, are you ready to buy now? Okay. Are you ready to buy now? What about now? And they, people say, well, I don't want to be a pest. Well, if you're doing that, you are being a pest, and I wouldn't do that either. But if you put the intention and the effort behind what is if you know clearly why they showed up in the first place and what's the path that they're likely on since they haven't bought from you, and you can feed them, this isn't about nurture and drip. This is about you intentionally putting stuff in their path that says, hey, I'm thinking of you. I understand the pain that you're in, and I have a way for you to help. Here's a resource that could help you. Here's an introduction that might help you. Here's something that I did a while ago. You might want to check this out and read paragraph 2 because it was relevant to you. That says, I care. It says, I'm paying attention. It says, I haven't forgot you. And I'm speaking very specific to you, right? That person will open your emails. That person at some point will come back to the table and have a conversation with you. That person will introduce you to somebody and refer somebody to you, even if they never buy, because they can speak to your value.
Yeah, you know, I think you really nailed it. It is about tapping into their needs and their pain and showing that you've got them top of mind. You know, and I do think that's probably what most people do. Are you ready yet? You want to buy now?
Yeah.
They're like, no.
That's totally what people do. And it's silly,
Yeah.
but they don't know what else to do.
Well, it's so much easier, I think, to do is to be helpful, is just to say, okay, you know, if this person was a friend, what would I do for a friend?
Exactly.
Right. And,
exactly.
and that's where that trust is built. And you're staying top of mind in their world. So, that's so great.
Yeah, good old Tom. We talk about Tom in our company, and that's top of mind. If you're not Tom, you're not relevant. You have to make sure that you're there. Tom is your friend. He's not just your friend on MySpace. He's your friend in the real world when you're following up with people.
Oh, I like that. So I think that some people feel like, well, they're born for sales and I'm just not. I mean, do you think that's true? And if not, what are some tips like for people that are like, you know, I'm just your average Joe or Joanne, you know, some tips to get them better at sales?
You know, it's really interesting because first of all, it's a double-edged sword. You know, none of us were quote unquote born salesmen, but we all have been born to win people over. And you've been doing it your whole life, every day of your life. You win over your spouse to marry you. You influence your kids to pick up their clothes off the floor and to do their homework and eat their vegetables. You influence your friends to go to a restaurant that they didn't want to go out with because they wanted to go and hang out with you. You influence people to watch a movie because it's cool or it's fun or it needs to be seen. You've been doing this every single day. And then somehow we get into a sales conversation and we become crazy and we could become this mechanical robot or some obsessed fiend and we lose our minds. And then we think we have to do something and be something. It's like, no, you just need to keep doing what you were doing over there, here. And so we take what you've been doing forever and we put it into a sales process so that it pulls you into the position of just being you.
Yeah. Wow. It is so true. And I think when you're in your regular life and you're trying to sell somebody on a movie, a restaurant, how you're going to spend your time, you're so convicted with that. And you're so confident, like, no, this is the movie that we're going to see. Or, you know, that's not where I want to go on vacation. This is what we need to do. If you could take that type of conviction and confidence into, you know, because you obviously should love your product or service. So that's a given. If you could take that same energy and think of it that way, that's really massive breakthrough.
It's powerful. I mean, think about, you know, just like your kids, if they're doing their homework, if your kid does not want to study and you're going to hold them accountable because they have some bigger goals. I want to go to XYZ college and I need to keep my GPA at a certain level. And there's a bigger game at play. And your job is to hold them accountable. So guess what? You can't go to the party tonight because you need to study. And I'm not interested in your excuses. I'm going to make sure you do this because we both know it's in your best interest. Yeah. You'll say that to your kid. You'll say that to a friend who won't leave that abusive relationship or something. We'll say, no, you need to get out of there. I'm going to come over and move you out tomorrow. Yeah. But you get on the phone with a prospect and you'll let them walk right off a cliff. Yeah. You won't stand with that same conviction. So you'll let them continue to suffer. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. Gosh, you're dropping so many genius bombs here, Jim. Seriously, I think if we approached our sales from this way, just as an extension of our everyday life, of what we're already doing,
it just makes it so much easier, so much less pressure.
Yeah.
Now, something that's amazing about you and your wife, Cyndi, who I love, is that you have actually doubled your business since COVID. And, you know, you and Cyndi are in our Pinnacle Global Network, and we love working with you and we love seeing you guys just rock it. Um, how has your sales process helped you during this time?
You know, it's been interesting because all we've done is really leaned into the truth a whole lot more. And what that means is, you know, there's a lot going on. 2020, in case y'all haven't noticed, an interesting year. And, you know, there's been everything from disease to, you know, riots, businesses going under, all kinds of political strife. And there's a lot of people that are just running for shelter. They're like, oh my God, I got to circle the wagons. But the problem with circling the wagons is it is a purely defensive posture. And eventually you're just going to run out. You can't win only playing defense, right? You have to be able to score. And so we put people in a position to say, look, there are going to be, no matter what happens here, there's going to be people who ride the wave to success while others get decimated by the wave.
Mm-hmm.
But the beautiful thing is you're at choice. You get to decide, are you going to ride the wave or are you going to be destroyed by the wave? And as long as you understand that you are at choice, then you now need to get up and get visible, start speaking the truth powerfully, start really talking to what you believe and lean into your expertise. And it's time to own it. You know, that's the big pivot that we've made for us. We've been behind the scenes for so long, helping people sell and launch campaigns and live events and done hundreds of millions of dollars sales for other people. And we've decided now it's time for us to step onto the front of the stage and say, look, we're going to take all the things we've done to help all these people. We're going to teach you how to do it and help you
Yeah.
do it for you. And that's just it. And you know, we drawn a dividing line. We said, look, we're going to help you make more sales without getting better at selling. And there are some people who say, you're nuts. It doesn't work like that. I'm like, we've got hundreds of millions of dollars of sales that says otherwise. So I'm not asking and I'm not questioning. I'm owning my expertise, knowing full well that some people are just going to write us off. And we're okay with that because there's a whole nother world of people who are like, thank God there's another way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for doing that and jumping in. I mean, there's definitely been so many silver linings to everything that's going on in the world because I feel like it's pushing people more into their genius. I mean, when you think about the recession back in 2008, 2009, there were those people that said, I'm kind of hanging up I'm shutting down my shingle. I'm going to wait till all this is over. And then there are others that got innovative and ended up thriving. And on the other side of this, not only did they prove to themselves that they can make it, you know, in up and or down economy, is that they were way stronger on the other side of it than when they went into it. So the time is now. And you have an event that is right around the corner called Make More Sales Live. And this is why I wanted to interview you, Jim, because business owners struggle with sales so much out of all the things between revenue streams, marketing, team, you know, execution. It's really the sales that is the lifeblood of the company. It is, you know, like I said, it is the oxygen that makes your business breathe. And so can you share what the event is about? Just give us some details and how people can sign up.
Yeah, thank you for that. The event is called Make More Sales Live, our virtual event coming up in October 2020. You can go to gtenow.com/make more sales live, and the link will also be down here in show notes or in the video. It's the whole focus of this is to help walk you through our playbook. You're going to have your own Make More Sales playbook full of all the processes and the strategies that we talked about. How do you get, you know, you want to make more sales? You need to get more people to show up so you can make more offers. Simple concept, but most people don't know how to do it. So we put a system together to make it happen. We want to make sure you can remain relevant and valuable in other people's world over time. So we're going to help walk you through our template on our follow-up system. We have a truth-telling serum, as we call it, but we're going to help you walk through what are the key questions that you need to be asking yourself and of your prospects so that you can actually be that arbiter of truth in their world, which will, that alone will help you double your sales conversion, guaranteed. right? And then things like prayer and visualization, don't know where you stand in spirituality, but we spend, God, we roll with Jesus, and God is the center point of our business. And we pray. We pray for you listening to this before we get on this call. We pray for sales calls before we get in. We run our business plan by God. We visualize how this is all going to shape out. If you're not doing that, you are missing out, because it is a factor. It's literally a strategy that we teach in the sales game, right? And so we have dozens of these, and you're going to walk away with your own playbook. You're going to take our systems, my $100 million sales brain, and our 40 years of sales experience, and put it into a playbook so that you can use our system to walk away and start building a process that will have people show up wanting to buy from you. We're all about helping you win customers instead of you trying to sell your products.
Yeah, I so love that. And you don't really see events out there that are just focused on this piece of business. And when you get this down, it's going to be life-changing for your business, your customers, your team, your family, and design the kind of life that you want to live. So make more sales live. And can you give that URL one more time, Jim? And we'll
Yes.
put it down at the bottom, but
It's a GTE, like our company Gain the Edge, gtenow.com/make more sales live. And said the whole goal here, we understand that this event's happening 10 days before an election. And we want to make sure you understand that no matter who wins in Washington, you're the one who gets to win in your business if you can master sales. So make sure you show up. Let us get all on the same page, build this community together that says we're going to make more sales no matter what's going on in the world, based on who you're being instead of what you're saying.
Create your own economy is basically what you're saying here, which
Amen.
is also take control of your future. So thank you so much for sharing your brilliance here, and it's wonderful being with everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this feature interview, and check out Jim's event. It's going to be phenomenal. All right. Until next time, everybody, get out there and elevate yourself, because you are worth it. Bye, everyone.